Having been established in the Middle East region since the early 1970s, and having earned an enviable reputation in the construction industry, J&P were chosen to build the new Intercontinental hotel complex in Qatar. The site selected for this project was in the heart of an extensive new residential, commercial and leisure development on the outskirts of Doha, with the new diplomatic quarter to the south and the West Bay Lagoon development, golf course and university to the north. The 164,000 square metre plot is primarily reclaimed coastal land. The hotel itself comprises an area of around 32,000 square metres and is part of a major development to include chalets and apartments, staff accommodation and a sports complex. Because the land is reclaimed, the main hotel building had to be supported on 574 individual piles with an average depth of 10 metres. The piling works commenced in March of 1999 and were finished by mid-April the same year. The works continued with pile cap foundation, ground beams and floor slabs. For the first 3 floors, traditional construction methods were employed: columns, beams, suspended slabs using quick-form support system waffle molds, and blockwork. The upper 6 floors were constructed using the Utinord tunnel form system, well suited for uniform construction and also one of the quickest methods of construction in the industry, ideal where short target dates are to be met. Reinforcing steel mesh for the walls is erected in place, and once cutouts have been made to accommodate services, the tunnel form shuttering is lifted into position by tower crane. The entire process is supervised throughout by the foremen and engineers, and the tunnel form shuttering guided into place by the experienced erection team. Once lowered into place, the shuttering is jacked up, locked off, and firmly clamped and bolted into place. Once the crane hoist bracket has been removed, the shuttering is then cleaned and oiled to guarantee easy release of shuttering and smooth finish to the concrete. As the rooms are formed from a continuous mould, provision has to be made for all services and conduits before the pouring of the concrete. Experienced engineers, armed with schematics, ensure nothing is overlooked. Before the initial layer of reinforcing mesh is laid in position, the primary ceiling light fittings and other services are fixed in place. To maintain uniformity of concrete wall thickness, Spacers are placed in position prior to the mesh being lowered. Once arranged in the final position, sections of the reinforcing mesh need to be cut out for remaining services. The majority of the services utilize highly flexible yet strong tubing, ideally suited for this particular construction technique. All electrical services, as well as provision for other services, were installed by Conspel, the mechanical electrical contractors. This is an ongoing process throughout the pre-concrete pouring preparation of the tunnel form. Expanded metal lath, used to stop concrete and to ensure good bonding with the next pour, is tied in place. Specially prepared metal boxes are fitted to allow large openings for water, sewer and rainwater pipes and other services to pass through. To accommodate for the amount of concrete required to complete the 4 rooms per day necessary to meet the demanding schedule, J&P installed a new computer-controlled K-Bag 80 batching plant on the site. This has the capacity to produce 80 cubic meters of concrete per hour. As a direct result of the accuracy of the numerically controlled batching plant, it was possible to produce a consistent quality of concrete for the duration of the project. Specialist pumps, capable of shifting 40 to 50 cubic meters of concrete per hour, are required to transport the concrete directly to the tunnel form shuttering, even as high as the 9th story. Whilst the concrete is being poured, electrical and mechanical vibrators are used to compact the concrete. This is essential for achieving the required finish and compaction. The concrete is then raked, leveled and smoothed. The pouring takes place at the end of the day so as to allow the curing to occur overnight. To expedite the strengthening process, approximately 130 heaters are placed in the 4 rooms and corridor, the openings then covered with insulating thermal blankets. Each batch of concrete was subjected to a battery of stringent daily tests, including load testing in the on-site laboratory, where other site materials also underwent a variety of assessments. After approximately 10 hours curing, and once the concrete has passed the laboratory tests, the tunnel form shuttering is removed by tower crane, before being moved into a new position, continuing the ongoing operation. Due to the efficiency of this process and J&P's familiarity with the system, the entire top 6 floors of the hotel were completed by the middle of January 2000, less than 100 days after commencing. Preparation for painting and other processes was carried out on the lower floors, whilst the upper floors were still under construction, allowing work to progress at an exceedingly rapid rate. Needless to say, excellent safety was maintained on the site throughout construction, from the beginning to handover, and J&P are proud not to have incurred a single serious incident in the more than 5 million man-hours of this project. Joining the two main wings of the hotel is the central atrium area. This starts on the lower ground floor and carries through to the 5th floor, and was constructed using conventional columns, beams and blockwork. Located in front of the main entrance is the Cascade Fountain, seen here during the early stages of construction. Layers of waterproofing were added to the main structure of the cascade to provide a perfectly watertight seal. Whilst the upper floors were still undergoing construction, the lower floors had all the electrical and mechanical services installed. These included protective coating for mechanical services pipework, insulation to air conditioning ductwork, and drainage services. In February 2000, a mock-up room was prepared for inspection, with representatives from Intercontinental, the consultants, and the interior designer present, together with His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Fahad Al Thani and Mr. Shikolas. Part of the external works included the preparation of the parking area, capable of accommodating more than 300 cars. Also included in the contract was the building of the hotel's main water and irrigation tank, and the swimming pool, first marked out in February. The upper 6 floors are all clad with precast concrete panels. A total of 500 panels was required. As with all procedures, experienced foremen and engineers were present throughout. The panels arrived on site ready for installation, a great labour and time-saving factor, as no further preparation or external finishing was required. The tower crane was used to position the precast panels, whilst temporary supports were used to hold them in place until permanent anchoring of the panels could be carried out at a later date. The external wall finish for the lower 3 floors is in Riyadh stone, a distinct yellow sandstone often seen throughout the Middle East. Most of the stone was cut to size off-site, with only end sections cut on-site. The cladding process began in April 2000, being completed by August the same year. All blockwork walls were rendered before being primed and painted. First a wet coat, followed by subsequent layers of heavier render. As well as the interior, the entire exterior of the central atrium area had to be rendered, a mammoth undertaking. Here we see the installation of a typical guest room bathroom. All the bathrooms throughout the hotel were individually hand-built and installed. Most of the lower three levels are finished in specially selected marble, imported from Italy after detailed scheduling from J&P's Nicosia office. Included in the plans was the feature of a connecting bridge spanning the main foyer. Once the atrium was rendered and primed, it was then painted to match the Riyadh stone and precast panels. All external works had begun in January 2000, including car parks, roadworks, beachworks, and other separate structures. And by August the same year, despite the grueling temperatures soaring above 45 degrees Celsius and humidity of 90% and more, progress was to schedule. The site has its own 400-meter private beach with man-made breakwaters and imported sands, sunshade areas and showers, restaurant, and of course, swimming pool, all part of the external works. By the end of September 2000, the hotel was resembling more and more the finished project, with tarmac laying to the roads and parking underway. Ornate boundary fencing of concrete columns and painted decorative galvanized steel was erected around the site. Dark blue tiles, imported from Germany, were chosen for the finish of the cascade fountain. In the vicinity of the swimming pool and beach are several shade areas that were finished with hand-cut granite paving. The pathways around the swimming pool and beach area made use of the random paving technique, which involves breaking the stone into random pieces and reassembling as in a jigsaw puzzle. The material used is Riyadh stone to match the lower three floors of the hotel. For other paved areas, colored exposed aggregate tiles were used. The swimming pool was finished with light blue tiles and included underwater seating around the pool bar area and a footbridge over the pool. The extensive landscaping began in September 2000 and was completed less than 2 months later. This included the planting of 800 palm and other trees, several thousand various plants and shrubs, and all the irrigation, a necessity in the Middle East. By the end of October 2000, the final touches were being added to the hotel in preparation for the opening. Each area of work needed its own artisan to supply the best possible finish, as can be seen here during the final stages of construction in the restaurant on the lower ground floor. Both the ballroom and main entrances have their own unique floor design that was painstakingly laid by hand in marble mosaic. The reception desk, as with many other areas throughout the complex, was tailored to fit requirements. To ensure an even finish, as well as for speed of application, spray painting was employed where suitable. With the guests' safety in mind, special flame-retardant wallpaper was hung throughout all the guest rooms and corridors. The top 6 floors were all laid with high-quality underlay and carpets that were specially commissioned and imported from Taiwan, as was the 800 square meter carpet in the ballroom, a unique pattern from the inspiration of the interior designer. The ballroom was hand-painted and directed by specially contracted artists flown in from China. The brass handrails and frames were supplied by a Saudi company and fitted by their own specialists. Just a few days before opening, the Italian interior designer, Bella Gamba, was to be found checking every last detail and directing the final positions of the wall hangings, decorations and furnishings. Due to the 9th Islamic Conference being held in Doha, scheduled for the first week in November 2000, the hotel had been fully booked months before work had been completed, resulting in an inflexible target date. The hotel was duly opened on the 1st of November, less than 20 months after piling work commenced, an exhausting but impressive and rewarding achievement. The uniquely designed, generously proportioned swimming pool mirrors to perfection the aesthetic lines of the main hotel. As well as the poolside bar, the swimming pool is embraced by luxuriant lawns. But if you prefer, there is of course always the beach. And for when the Middle Eastern sun becomes too much, purpose-built shade areas. Found towards one end of the Golden Sands and right on the beach is the Fish Market restaurant, an instant favorite with locals and guests alike. There is also a private sports club available to guests with 2 open-air tennis courts. Within the hotel itself, on the lower ground floor, there is a health club. Here there are 2 squash courts, a fully equipped gymnasium with saunas and massage rooms, and nearby a beauty salon and barber shop. Also to be found on the lower ground floor is the Amouage restaurant, which is open all day, offering a range of local and international dishes and light refreshments. At the entrance to the restaurant is a floating fountain, a cleverly designed optical illusion, and above that the centerpiece for the central atrium, a 16-meter chandelier spanning 5 floors. This unique luciferous centerpiece, inspired by the humble globe artichoke, was designed and commissioned by the interior designer Bella Gamba and handcrafted in Spain. The lower ground floor is also home to the main kitchen and laundry, as well as most of the mechanical, electrical and boiler rooms. The hotel also has its own 1000 kilovolt amp emergency generator. Outside, there are 5 375 refrigeration-ton chillers to handle the hotel's air conditioning requirements. The first thing one can't help but notice on approaching the hotel is the impressive 6-tiered cascade fountain. The hotel's main entrance and foyer is on the upper ground floor and is reached by ramps that run up either side of the cascade. The main lobby, with its high ceilings and cool marble interior, is an instant and welcome relief from the heat of the day. A world-time clock acts as a focal point for the reception area. As well as 3 separate seating areas in the main foyer, there are also 14 different shops to browse on the upper ground and mezzanine floors. With its two-tone striped marbled pillars, the main lobby is reminiscent of the Mezquita Mosque in Córdoba, the old capital of Moorish Spain. A short while after the hotel was opened, it was to have the pleasure of the company of their Royal Highnesses the Duke and Duchess of Wessex, who were visiting Qatar for British Week. To the right of reception can be found the tea garden, where one can enjoy pastries, sandwiches, fresh juices and coffee, and of course a variety of teas in pleasant and relaxed surroundings. Remaining on the upper ground floor, we find the Paloma, a Tex-Mex style bar restaurant that offers a variety of dishes from the open-plan kitchen and where live music can be enjoyed most evenings. To the right of the main entrance, there is the ceremonial entrance, used when there is a function being hosted in the expansive ballroom. There are movable partitions that can be easily positioned to convert the ballroom from one large room into 2 or 3 more intimate rooms. Suspended above the main entrance foyer, featuring 4 decorative vases that were built on site by J&P craftsmen, is a bridge connecting the shops on the mezzanine level to the business center, conference rooms and Italian restaurant. The Italian restaurant is called Cielo, meaning sky, and inside there is a sky scene painted on the ceiling. Cielo has rapidly become one of the most popular eating places in Doha, with its world-class chefs, comfortable bar and specially built pizza oven. Opposite Cielo is the business center, with all the facilities one may require whilst away from the office. Still on the mezzanine floor, there are several conference rooms available for hire, with the hotel providing all the assistance one may need. Within the central atrium area, there are 4 guest lifts that lead to the upper floors. From the 1st through to the 5th floor are to be found all the typical guest rooms. All the rooms are equipped with interactive television, allowing guests to choose what films they would like to watch, check their room bill, handle their emails, and even browse the internet. And for the traditionalists, in each room there is also a leather-bound writing pad and desk. As well as the 140 twin rooms and 100 double bedrooms, the hotel also includes 3 rooms catering for handicapped guests, 10 presidential suites, 12 diplomatic suites, and 12 business suites. Through the use of complementary colors and other stock-in-trade techniques, the interior designer has cleverly managed to maintain a theme throughout, whilst allowing detailed and subtle differences between the rooms. In addition to the hotel's other suites, on the 6th floor there are 2 royal suites, each with its own distinct design and color scheme. The royal suites both have a dining area with seating for up to 8 guests, as well as a